Alrighty, now we're going to talk about what's next, which is called the recursive formula. Now, this looks a little bit different than I did my last couple notes because I actually went through about the whole thing, made a video, and got to the end and realized I'd written down something I did not like. That was just not the right notation for what we're doing, and so I had to stop and start all over again. I didn't feel like writing all the notes over. Recursive formula. It depends on the previous terms. So what that means is, if you want to find the 8th term, you got to know what the 7th term was. And to find the 7th, you've got to know the 6th. And to know the 6th, you've got to know the 5th. And so on until you get all the way back to the beginning, f of 1. So it's harder in the fact that you've got to list all the different terms, every single one. So if I want to find the 754th term using a recursive formula, I'm going to have to write down all 754. This is the formula you're going to have to know. It says f of n equals f parentheses n minus 1 plus d, semicolon, almost looks like a J, f of 1 equals blank. This is the important part. F of n minus 1 equals the previous term. And that's going to be super important way later. Now, I wrote always and always down right here because when you do this formula, this part never changes. The only thing you're ever going to put down is what is the common difference and what is f of 1. So, in this formula, I wrote 17, 21, 25. And then you just write f of n equals f of n minus 1, leave a blank, semicolon, f of 1 equals, leave a blank, and now you just fill this stuff in. So I wrote first term 17, I wrote 17. I found plus 4 and plus 4. I put plus 4 there, and now I'm done. So let's do another one in a second, just because I messed that up, and it's a little bit hard to see sometimes. So, 275, 272, 273, dot, dot, dot. If I want to write a recursive formula for this, I'm always going to write f of n equals f of n minus 1, blank, semicolon, f of 1 equals, and now I just start trying to figure out what is what, you know? 275, 275, minus 3, 273. What the heck's going on there? Somebody should have told me I was doing something that didn't even make sense. 269, right? Minus 3, minus 3. And you're done. That's it. So the next part's just a little bit more difficult. We're going to start with an easier question. If I ask you to list first 5 terms, and I know that's not proper English, but too lazy right now. And I just gave you a formula, f of n equals f of n minus 1 plus 7, f of 1 equals 4. What I would normally do is just write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 terms, right? 5 different things. F of 1, I've already told you what it is. So when I say find the first 5 terms, I've already given you an answer here, right? 4. Now, this is where it's very important that you get what that f of n minus 1 means and what that f of n means. So, I hope people who are doing this are listening to the video. F of n, this is the function of the term you want, equals the previous term plus 7. So what that means is, if I want this term right here I'm going to go backwards 1, the previous term, and add 7. Right? It's previous term plus 7. So if I want to find the next one right here, I'm going to look previous term plus 7, 18. Previous term, which is 18, plus 7 is 25. And then lastly, previous term, 25 plus 7 is 32, right? So you've that f of n minus 1 just means go backwards 1, then do something to it. Now, I tell you this and I stress this a bunch because now I can give you something more complicated. F of n equals f of n minus 2 plus f of n minus 1 plus 4. And then I could say f of 1 equals 1, f of 2 equals 6. And I want the first 5 terms. So since I want the first 5 terms, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Simple, simple. Now, I already wrote what f of 1 was. It's just 1. Now, I gave you f of 2 as well, right? It's just 6, so I write 6. So you only got to find 3 terms now. This is where you've got to use this formula. I want this thing right here. F of n minus 2 doesn't mean the previous term. It means go back 2. So you want 1. Now this says plus f of n minus 1. So you're going to go back 1. Plus 6. And now it just says plus 4 right there. So you got to do plus 4. And you get 11. So if I want this one right here, it's the same thing. I should probably write that 11 right there. If I want this term right here, I'm going to go back 1, 2, which is 6. And now the f of n minus 1 means go back 1, which means go here, which is 11. And then once again, it just says plus 4, so you're going to do plus 4. You get 21. Once again, this one means go back 2, 1, 2, and you're going to get 11. F of n minus 1 means go back 1 plus 21. And now it just says plus 4 right there, so you do plus 4. And you get 25, 36. So this f of n minus 2, f of n minus 1, that's telling you how far you got to go back. The solutions are online, so when you do those questions, especially on the first recursive, that's problem 14 and 15, that'll basically tell you what you got to do. Now that second explicit recursive one, that's just practice. So if you feel like you got it down, you don't got to do that last one. And then you just got to do arithmetic modeling, and you're done with this whole section.